Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to thank you. And please share this commentary with people you think will find it informative. And man, we got to talk about the mental health model in America. And there is one really interesting and crazy case that just took place in Boston, Massachusetts, where 32-year-old Shelby Hewitt, a social worker who has a college degree and a master's in school counseling from the University of Massachusetts, she decided that she wanted to pose as a teenager and ended up attending 3 separate Boston high schools. She enrolled and attended at least 3 public high schools, sometimes posing as a 13 or a 16-year-old. She said she was a foster child who was an extremely traumatized child with specific educational needs. She actually is a former social worker with the Massachusetts Department of Children and Family Services. And she was attending high school as a 13 and 16-year-old, and she's actually 32. And her background is in social work for the Department of Children and Family Services in Massachusetts. So she's there to help kids. And now she's posing as a child, as a teenager in high school. And the way she got caught, she had 2 people in a condo who were posing as her parents. They called one of the schools that she attended. She had only been there 1 week, and they called upset, saying that their child was being bullied and harassed. And Shelby went by a couple of different names, Daniela or Ellie, and these 2 people, fake parents, called the school to say that their child was being harassed and bullied, but they had only been there 1 week. So that was a tipping point to where the administrators and they started investigating who this student was. Got the police involved and found out that this was this young lady, Shelby Hewitt. The courts ended up charging her with forgery, identity fraud, and larceny. She ended up with a $5,000 bail. She's got to stay away from all Boston schools. She had other social workers involved in this that were helping her make fake birth certificates and identifications and names to be this false teenager. She had created multiple names and dates of birth for herself to propagate this intricate false narrative of being an extremely traumatized child with significant special educational needs. So she had other social workers involved. She had these 2 adults pretending to be her fake parents. It didn't last long. And the peculiar question, since she's been arrested, she had a $5,000 bond. And she's been charged, like I said, with several counts. And during this time, while she was posing as a teenager, she also allegedly collected a $54,000 salary as a social worker with the Department of Children and Family Services. So I wanted to put this up on my YouTube channel. This is a very peculiar and interesting scenario where this 32-year-old woman is posing as a 13 or 16-year-old and actually attending high school. Nobody can figure out what the purpose is or purpose was, and mental health issues are a real dynamic in America with homelessness, the opioid crisis. Mental health issues is right at the forefront, and this is a classic example of someone who has been working for the Department of Mental Health and is actually mentally ill. And only God knows how long before this fake incident took place and she got caught, that she was nurturing and advising young people about how to deal with their issues when she was a social worker. What kind of advice was she giving these kids? And thank God that it was not one of your children. Sometimes I have noticed throughout my journey that sometimes these social workers can be just as disturbed and have just as much chaos in their personal life as the people that they are counseling and trying to help. Many of them need to manifest their truth, look in the mirror, and try to take care of themselves first before you can take care of someone else. And this is a classic example. 32-year-old Shelby Hewitt was posing as a 13-year-old or 16-year-old and actually attending high school. She went to 3 different high schools. Where she found the time to work, pretend to be a teenager, and go to these high schools is beyond me. But thank God it didn't take very long for the administrators and the authorities to figure out that this was all fake. And she ended up getting arrested. She had a hearing. She's got a $5,000 bond. And this just goes to show you, as I said in many of my previous videos, that mental health issues are at the forefront on our healthcare platform. We always worry about heart disease, cancer, things that you can identify, high blood pressure, diabetes. But mental illness is always castigated to the side. It's not something you can necessarily see on an x-ray, but you can see all the signs and symptoms as they are spewing through someone's spirit and their physical being when they are in trouble mentally, physically. They're in a time of need, and we need to reach out and help as many people as possible, especially the ones that you see that need to help. I use an acronym all the time called HOPE, H-O-P-E. That means help one person every day if you can. There are a lot of people suffering and in turmoil internally, in their stomach, in their mental capacity. And if you see it, try to help them, make them aware. And if you are a person suffering through mental illness, make sure that you go get the help that you need. And this is a classic case of a young lady that's been suffering from mental illness for a long time, to the point where she started manifesting and believing that she was a 13-year-old or 16-year-old, and then actually put it in place to go to 3 different high schools and pretend to be a teenager. Thank God the authorities caught up with this. This could have turned out to be a very terrible situation. And take a look at it. Shelby Hewitt out of Boston, Massachusetts. Read the article, look at the news clips. It's a very interesting commentary. And people that are suffering mentally, please get the help that you need. And if you see somebody suffering mentally, please help to provide a service to help them. This has been a Trevor Donald experience. Manifest your truth in the right direction. Live a God-fearing and righteous existence. See you next time.